All right, so let's go ahead and talk about section 1.5, and we're going to be talking about exploring angle pairs and relationship of pairs of angles. And we're going to be learning about this so we can figure out what missing pieces are in terms of degrees. So this is probably a review from pre-algebra in 8th grade. So adjacent angles. When you think adjacent, I want you to think next to. So two angles who are next to each other. So adjacent means next. So like angles 1 and 2 are adjacent, and 3 and 4. Okay, vertical angles are when two angles whose sides are opposite rays. So it's when two lines cross, so two straight angles cross, they are opposite angles. So I want you to think of opposite. Okay, vertical is opposite. Complementary. Complementary angles add up to be 90, so they equal 90 degrees. So if you see a question that says what is the complement of an angle, it's saying what plus that angle equals 90 degrees. Supplementary, those angles equal 180, and it's when two angles add up to be 180. They can be next to each other or not, whichever. If they add up to be 180, they are supplementary angles. Okay, let's go on. So let's use the diagram at the right. Is the statement true? Explain. So is angle BFD, so BFD and CFD, are they adjacent angles? Well, think about it. They do share one side, but the green one, CFD, is inside the yellow one. So there it would be no. CFD, angle CFD is inside angle BFD. Okay, the next one, we have AFB. So AFB would be right here. Is AFB and CFD, are those two vertical angles? No, they're not, because remember, a vertical angle is when two lines cross, or two straight angles. So no, you could say this a few different ways. No, because there isn't a straight line through BFE, or no, they aren't opposite rays. They don't have opposite rays, that's what I'll say. All right. The next one, angles AFE and BCF are complementary. So remember, what does complementary means? It means they equal 90 degrees. 90. So AFE, AFE and BFC, do they equal 90? Yes, it looks like they do. 62 plus 28. So yes, they add to be 90 degrees. So that's a yes. Okay, the next section. And use the diagram. Is the statement true? Explain. So it's very similar to the last one. So we have, we have angle AFE. So AFE is right here. And CFD are vertical angles. CFD. Well, it looks like they are. Their rays are opposite, so this would be a yes. So yes, they are, because the angles have opposite rays. Okay, the next one, BFC and DFE are supplementary. BFC and then DFE. So do they equal 90 degrees, or sorry, supplementary is 180, so do they equal 180? That would be a no. They don't add to be 180. Last one, BFD. So BFD and AFB. Are they adjacent angles? And the reason yes, they are, because they are next to each other. Got it. Okay, let's move on. So here's all the things, and this is going to be very important whenever we start doing proofs in the next unit. So there are some things that you can see from a diagram and some things that you can't just assume. So you have to have facts in geometry. So you can, these are the top three are the ones that you can conclude or can assume. You can see when angles are adjacent. So you can see when angles are next to each other. And then you can also see whenever they are adjacent and supplementary. So whenever they're on a straight line and they equal 180, you can see that. So if they're adjacent and supplementary, then you can also see when the angles are vertical, so opposite. Okay, things you cannot conclude is that angles or segments are congruent. You can't just look and say, oh, those look like about the same size. Well, they're the same. No. You can't also assume if it's a right angle. If it doesn't have that right angle symbol on there, then it is not necessarily a right angle. And then angles are complementary, so you can't just assume that they equal 90 unless you have a right angle symbol. Okay, let's go to this one. What can you conclude from the information in this diagram? Well, if you look back over here, it said you can see that angles are adjacent. So let's list all of the adjacent angles, and there's quite a few. So angle 1 and angle 2, angle 2 and angle 3, angle 3 and angle 4, and angle 4 and angle 5, angle, what am I doing, 6? There's no 6. Angle 5 and angle 1. I think I have all of them. So all of those are adjacent. Right? Okay, so you can also see if they are adjacent and supplementary, that means they equal 180. So do you see any two angles that are adjacent next to each other and are on a straight line and equal 180? Well, I see 4 and 5, and then also 3 and 4. So let's write that, angle 3 and 4, and then angle 4 and angle 5 are supplementary. And then what else does it say? You can tell when angles are vertical angles. So to me, it looks like, let's erase this. My vertical angles would be, looks like just 3 and 5. If you could combine 1 and 2, that would be vertical with 4, but we're not doing that. So angle 3 and angle 5 are vertical. Okay. So the next part, can you make each conclusion from the information in the diagram explain? TW and WV, are they congruent? Yes, because of the congruent symbol. Okay, are PW and WQ? Well, they look like it. If you eyeball it, they look like it, but we don't know because they don't have a congruent symbol. And we'll say no because there's no congruent symbol. TWQ is a right angle. It looks like it could be, but we don't know for sure, so no. There is not a right angle symbol. And then TV bisects PQ. Think, what does the word bisect means? It means it cuts it in half. So TV cuts, does it cut PQ in half? Well, we don't know if PQ is cut in half, so there's not enough. No, we would know if there was a congruent symbol, and since there's no congruent symbol, we don't know. All right, you see this next part, a linear pair. So they are adjacent, whose non-common sides are opposite rays, and so it's pretty much two angles next to each other on a straight line. So those are a linear pair. They add up to be 180. So if you see in the homework, if it says, what is the linear pair, you would just add two angles or pick two angles that are next to each other that are on a straight line, so they equal 180. Okay, so next problem, we have angle KPL and JPL. So they are a linear pair. Well, we just talked about this. What does a linear pair equal? 180 degrees. So then it says KPL is 2x plus 24. They label it for you. And JPL is 4x plus 36. What are the measures of KPL and JPL? So first thing we have to do is solve for x. So we know those two together add up to be 180. So we're going to have to just add them and let them equal 180. So I have 2x plus 24 plus 4x plus 36 equals 180. Go ahead and combine your like terms. That would be 6x plus 24 plus 36 equals 180. Go ahead and combine like terms again. Let's see, what is that? 60. So 6x plus 60 equals 180. Subtract 60 from both sides. I think it's 120 equals 6x. Divide by 6, so x equals 20. Okay, perfect. So we figure that out. Now we have to figure out the angles. So angle KPL is 2x plus 24. So this will be 2 times 20 plus 24. That'd be 40, 64. So KPL is 64 degrees. That seems like a realistic number. And then let's do angle JPL is 4x plus 36. So 4 times 20 plus 36, 80, 116 degrees is what JPL is. Sweet, we have our answers. Oops. So we can, of course, check our work. So to check, 64 plus 116 should equal 180. And yes, it does. So we did it right. Good. Okay, the next one. In the figure PQR, the measure of angle PQR is, so the whole thing, you got to really read on these. The whole thing is 4x plus 47. Find the measure of PQS. So we need to find this angle right here. So let's do it. Well, if we know the whole thing is going to equal 4x plus 47, and then it's going to be that first piece, that green piece, 7x minus 4, plus the other piece of the angle, which we know is 36 degrees. All right, now that we've got it set up, let's solve it. Combine your like terms on the left. You get positive 32. And then write it. Bring everything else down. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. That would give you 3x plus 32 equals 47. Subtract 32 from both sides. You get 3x equals 15. Divided by 3, x equals 5. Okay, so then we just need to find out one thing. What is the measure of PQS? So angle PQS, they said, was 7x minus 4. So we're going to have to do 7 times 5 minus 4, which is 35 minus 4, so 31. 31 degrees equals angle PQS. And that seems like a realistic number. Okay, next one. Next part, bisector. We saw this on the last day of notes, or 2 days ago, I guess. would have been about segment bisectors. When you see the word bisector, think cuts in half. So if you have an angle bisector, it's a ray that cuts the angle into two equal pieces or two congruent pieces. And so looking at this diagram, you can see that those pieces are equal. So ray, AY, is an angle bisector. You could make that statement about that. It cuts it in half. All right. Let's go over here. So ray QR bisects angle PQS. So that means those are congruent. Solve for X and then find the measure of PQS. So the measure of PQR is 3X and RQS is 4X minus 9. So since we know those are congruent and then we know they're equal, we can set those equations equal. So 3X is equal to 4X minus 9 minus 4X from both sides equals negative 1X, or just you could write negative X, equals negative 9. Divide both sides by negative 1, X equals positive 9. Sweet, there's one answer, and then we have one last little piece of this. So we have 4X minus, oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing the wrong one. I want to find what PQR is, or PQS, sorry, PQS, the whole thing. So PQS is going to be, we said PQS is going to be the whole thing, so it would be 3X plus 4X minus 9. And so that's, we need to figure out, plug in 9 for your X, so I have 3 times 9 plus 4 times 9 minus 9. Stick that bad boy in your calculator. 27. I'm going to work it out the old-fashioned way. I don't have one handy. That would be 54, I believe. So angle PQS equals 54 degrees. And that seems like a realistic number. All right, 2 more to go. So this is one similar to the last one. The measure of, or LC bisects MLB. So those are congruent. MLC is 8X plus 1. CLB is 6X plus 7. So if they are, we know they're congruent because it bisects them. So let's go ahead, and if they're congruent, that means we can set those equal to each other. And we're solving for X and figuring out what MLB is. So solving for X, we have 8X plus 1 is going to equal 6X plus 7. Go ahead and subtract 6X from both sides. You get 2X plus 1 equals 7. Minus 1 minus 1, 2X equals 6. So X equals 3. All right, so now we're trying to figure out what the whole enchilada is. Sorry, I'm hungry and I like Mexican food. So we have the whole thing, which was 8X. Actually, let me back up. Let's write MLB, angle MLB is equal to 8X plus 1 plus 6X plus 7. So that whole thing, and so you're going to plug into your and you're going to plug in 3 for X. So 8 times 3 plus 1 plus 6 times 3 plus 7. When you plug all of that in your calculator, you get MLB equals 50 degrees. Does that seem like a 50-degree angle, an acute angle? Yep, it does to me. So that is the correct answer. All right, last problem. So we've got solve for X and find the measure of hat. Just kidding, HAT. So The measure of angle MAH is 3x plus 2, and HAT is 2x minus 12. So, do we know that these angles are equal? No, they don't even look equal, so that won't work. But what do we know? Well, you can see that little right angle sign right there, so that means total they're going to equal 90 degrees. So, if they total 90 degrees, we're just going to have to add them together. We've got 3x plus 2 plus 2x minus 12. Combine like terms, you have 5x plus 2 minus 12. That would be negative 10. So 5x minus 10 equals 90. Let's add 10 to both sides. We have 5x equals 100. Divide by 5, so x is going to equal 20. Sweet. So we figured out what x is. There's one answer. And now we're trying to figure out what the measure of HAT is. So angle HAT, they told us, was 2x minus 12. So now we just have to plug it in. 2 times 20 minus 12. Work that out, and that gives you 28 degrees. So angle HAT is 28 degrees. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Oops, what did I do?